Okay, good evening all. We'll call the meeting to order. We're missing one participant yet, but hopefully we'll be here momentarily. This is a special meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West, held in Council Chambers 216 Main Street West, Swan River, Manitoba, this 4th day of May at 7:02 p.m. Present, myself, Deputy Reeve William, Councillor Foster, Councillor Gade via telephone, Councillor Pierrepont, and Councillor Kushniryk via telephone. Interim-Acting CAO Ken Jenkins via telephone, as well as Finance Officer James Webb. And we didn't list Matt on here at all. You never heard that he wasn't going to be here?
I didn't hear that.
Okay, we will wait a few minutes and see what develops. Otherwise, we may have to do this one.
You text me that?
I was just gonna say, I think I have it here somewhere.
Carrie, give it a
Glen.
Sorry.
You ask Ken if he knows if Matt's joining us.
I guess. Ken, did you hear if Councillor Wills was going to be joining us tonight?
I didn't hear anything to the contrary, Mr. Reeve.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Foster, second by Councillor Blosha, resolved that the agenda for the special meeting of council held this 4th day of May 2020 shall be adopted as presented. Any changes wished? If not, all in favor?
Yes. Yes.
That is carried. Okay, we do not have a resolution to set dates for a public hearing.
No, well, got blank one here, I can do that.
Do we do that now? I guess we-
Not sure. Doesn't say about a picture, take that one.
Did Rick grab that one, sure?
Might as well sit comfortable and sit down.
Reeve Galloway?
Yes.
Yeah, if I have to leave abruptly there, I think I told James earlier that I've got a 4-H heifer that's possibly calving here shortly, so I've got spotters out in the pasture for me, but if I have to go, I'll just hang up.
Okay, maybe announce that you're leaving.
Yeah, okay.
Not bad yourself. Oh, geez, what's that you did?
Got to fight with a ladder.
Oh, gee.
Had a break in the body.
Yeah.
Grabbing the
Ooh.
steps and sliding through my hand and grabbed it all.
Ooh.
It's good times. I've just got it glued together and trying to keep it clean.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't really want to go for stitches unless I have to. So.
No. That's wasted.
I've been Staple it up, there you go.
Okay, we'll announce to the meeting that Councillor Wills has now arrived.
You don't,
No,
this one,
just one? Okay.
yeah,
Thought last year we had two.
yep, but we don't have to. Did you guys sign it?
Just writing up a resolution, Ken, for public hearing on the financial plan. What is the period of time that we have to advertise? Is it 2 weeks?
I believe it's 2 weeks. So we can prepare the, if council's satisfied with everything they see tonight or make their changes tonight, whatever the case may be. Bylaw ready, give it first reading, and have that date set for the public hearing. And I'm not sure, at this point in time, if we can do some work on it is depending what the province comes up with. Right now, their phase 1 is limiting the public to 10 meetings to 10 people. So if that's the case, we'll have to set up teleconferencing. But that's something we should just keep an eye on, and if the province does open it up, we should be prepared at the last minute to open up that meeting as well to allow the public in.
Okay, if we put it in the starting times on the 12th and the 26th, we don't have to have a special or a regular meeting if we pass this resolution establishing the date now, do we?
No.
Okay, so if we publicize it on the 12th and on the 26th, then we could conceivably get it in before the end of May, talking now the hearing.
Yes.
27th, 28th, 29th.
And I think those will be our tentative dates, Mr. Reeve. I would just like to have the opportunity to make sure that, not meeting council down the garden path here, make sure that how that bylaw is going to go forward with the first reading. We may have to have a special meeting just for that. But I'll get that confirmed.
So should we be even entertaining then a resolution to set the date tonight?
I would suggest not. We don't even need a resolution to set those dates. We just need direction.
Okay. Good enough. We will get right into the financial plan itself then.
But that'll allow James and I the time to sit down and that's one of the failures of having a part-time, not on-scene CAO. But we'll get that straightened out and get back to council on.
Okay. How do you folks want to do this? You all have the financial plan in front of you, do you?
Yeah. Sure do.
Okay. Have you all had a chance to review it?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, I've been through it for a while.
Okay, any questions pop out?
There's a couple I had. In the latest revision, we show the pool from 100,000 down to 50,000. I was kind of curious if that's going to work.
Well, as you know, Councillor Gade, we do not have an agreement with the town currently. Agreement terminated December 31st. In speaking with members of town council, the pool has been closed and the employees have been laid off for the last couple of months. And both of them speculated that it would likely be not in the near future that it was reopened. In other words, it likely wouldn't reopen until late September or October. Now, there's no law guaranteeing that, obviously, but that was what they were speculating. So I think if they are not open, that they should not be expecting us to be contributing to the cost of running the pool when the cost is greatly reduced without having employees there.
I don't necessarily disagree with the reasoning. I like the reasoning. I just wonder if they're going to see it the same way or if they're going to get grumpy.
Well, I guess if we point it out to them, they might get grumpy. But there's no law stating that we have to point out every line in a budget to anyone, right?
Okay, moving on from that, the Benito Rec Center is up.
It's on page 2A. Oh, on
Page 2?
2A.
2A?
2A.
Which page
They're all two ways.
Oh, they're all 2A.
Just go right to the back, yeah, back page.
That page?
Uh,
Yeah, last page.
third from the end. 2A third.
Okay. This one? Okay, yeah.
Okay, what was the question, Bill?
It's up 12,500, and I assume that's, we have to do that. Is there any, there's no real room to move in that number, is there?
Like the LUD portion, you mean?
I'm just looking, I don't have it split out necessarily, I'm just seeing 62.5 as the total.
Okay, so the split out portion on mine shows the rural at, it's, yeah, he sees it all together. I see it split out.
Insurance is the reason we're being told. The increase in the cost of insuring it, Bill?
We were expecting, I thought when we talked about that, we were expecting like $2,000 or $3,000 of increase. It just seems like it's a lot more than that from what we had expected.
was way more than
Yeah, it was more than that.
Okay.
Our portion, we were prepared to pay half of it, I think, originally, and it come to 3,500 or something like that, wasn't it?
No, this is for the new.
Yeah, I thought the total insurance was around 28 this year, 26, and we were expecting to be about 30 next year. Or in 2020, I should say.
Yeah, it was almost 28 last year, and now I think it's, 35 or 38 or something.
Before or after the rebate, though. So I thought the 28 was before rebate.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bill, it was 28 in 18, and it went up to 33 in 19, and now it's up to 42 for
And the rebate
2020.
took it back to
And
27.
when you bake everything in there, it comes back to about $40,000. So
With
it is quite an increase on the whole insurance package. It went up significantly this year.
Well, if the insurance is that much, then the number can't really change, because that barely leaves them there operating.
Yes, yes.
The other thing I looked at a little bit was the recycling, but like that totally depends on what we decide to do about recycling.
Yeah, we had talked when we were going over it the last time about the possibility of everyone not partaking in recycling, and it would obviously skew those numbers, but
At least they go down, which is better than going up.
well, that's the thing. Once we kind of accept it and have a public hearing, we can decrease them, we cannot increase them, right?
How is the LUD past theirs now? Are their numbers solid, or are we still waiting for them?
We've been working with them on their numbers. I need to go back with them, but it's pretty well, we've talked that, you know, there's, the services that are provided is what it is. We've worked as hard as we could to reduce it for them, but I think what we have there is going to stick, but I would like to just sit with them one more time and have that passed.
So how much are they up from last year? They're about 65,000 more?
I would say you're about 40,000. In 2018, there were 254 for levies, and then it dropped down to 2009, it's back up to 247. I'm just...
19? Because 2018 had an emergency increase in it.
Yes, but that was all spent within their operating eventually. So, yeah, the LUD, I just took a look, it's not 247, it's 252 for 2020.
So what was 2019 though?
2019 was 2009, 209,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's
So
the
we
diff-
did
what's-
drop it.
What's the difference between 18 and 20?
18 and 20 is it's a $2,000 drop from 18 to 20. It
So,
was 254.
That's about 252 now.
252 now, yes.
so what they went down last year, they're getting put back up this year, basically.
In here, it looked like they're doing $30-some thousand in beautification. What is that?
That's a one-time fee for demolition that happened a few years ago.
17, was it?
17, yeah.
Okay, so did it get removed from 2018 then?
We're still looking at that, Bill, and what happened was there was a certain amount that was allocated to be coming out of 2018, but it didn't all come out. So we've made allowance for it in this year.
Hearing we're going to have people say that that was already charged for in 2018. And we're going to have to make very clear on how it wasn't charged for so we can explain it to them.
For sure, yeah. And that will be, we'll do that at the Lgd Committee.
I don't think I had anything else huge. Tyler, you want to take a go at it?
No, I don't see any major issues here. Like outside of what you guys have pointed out.
Part of the reason, two reasons for the increase, obviously, was the additional gravel that we are going to be buying this year. And we discussed that at our last regular meeting and actually passed a resolution in that regard. The other thing is adding to the machinery reserve this year over what has been put in previous years. So there's an extra $100,000 going into machinery reserve than what there was previous years.
I wonder, James, could you tell me about the transfer to reserves? What I understood of it was we had some surplus last year, so we put more into general reserve, and we put a little bit more into machinery reserve, but can you tell me if I have that right, or if I'm on the wrong track?
Yeah, last year we put into general reserve, and then in the machinery reserve, we put 200,000, and this year we're putting 300,000.
I guess what I mean is, more specifically, like in 2019, we budgeted about 550,000 into reserves, but we actually put 700,000 in.
Oh, pardon me, I misunderstood that. There was a additional gas tax payment given.
Makes up for it, then.
Yes, and so that was the difference, that's right. Yeah.
I think you were kind of meaning our surplus from last year, where it went? Was that your question, Bill?
Well, it's because I thought we had one.
Yeah, we did, and I think it went into the general reserve. Nothing was put into the machinery reserve from last year's surplus, was it?
We put like 150, I think, into general at the end.
No, not from the surplus. We're talking
Well,
from the
no,
surplus
but I
now.
mean, yeah, but when we budgeted last year, we had budgeted 950 to go into general. So we could move it where we needed to.
Yeah. However, from the levy, this year's tax levy, there will be an additional $100,000 put into the machinery reserve to take care of projected replacement of equipment and purchase of equipment.
In the detailed view, I think it's, yeah, the detailed one, where we show the gas tax reserve for this year, showing some of it going to the Lgd and some of it to the rural, or do we want to leave it all showing large, or what do we want to do with that?
What we'll do there is it's showing as a lump sum, but it will be divided, as we talked last meeting, on a per capita basis. There is definitely some work to be done on that.
Okay, anyone else have any questions?
One main concern of mine is ditch cleaning.
Is
Ditch
ditch cleaning?
cleaning, the scrubbing, and it's not getting done. Can we budget money to hire somebody? To contract it? I'm getting phone calls all the time. My area, lots of places, have been 4 years since a lot of it's even been done.
It's been 4 years since it's been done. See, this is the issue. We'll scrub it, and then it grows right back again.
Well, I'm not
So
arguing that, but
what we must do, I think, is really give consideration to a spray program to keep it knocked down, because it's very, very expensive to scrub. And if in 4 years' time, or 5 or 6,
well, some of it's been, yeah, more than that.
yeah, if it's going to be back up there again and have to be done again with the scrubber, that's not good business.
But I mean, it's washing roads out because of it. I can take you into areas, well, if you go into Badowski's there on 18, where the ditch is 5 feet deep and the trees are 4 feet over that, and the grass has built walls in the ditches, and the water's running down the road in a 5 foot to go. There's just no way, like, if Donnie spent 100 hours in that machine and got 10 miles done, there's pretty near a whole summer worth, just in my area.
Well, that was kind of the reason I threw out the suggestion at the last meeting, I think it was, or the one previous to that, about looking into the purchase of a hydrovac.
You still have to have somebody to run it.
I understand that, but the head on that excavator is good enough, but it wouldn't hold a candle to
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
a
But
hydrovac.
the thing is
Are we
each-
using that machine enough to justify that amount of money in it, or would it be wiser to flip that machine and get into a hydrovac that could do the job?
My only concern with that is that hole gets used for, loading trucks, it gets used for cleaning ditches. We have that 10-foot blade that we built for it a couple of years ago. If we get rid of that hole, then we only have a machine that can do one thing. I still think it would be better to get rid of that hole and get one on wheels. And then it's mobile instead of going down the road at 2.5 mile an hour.
Well, and that's why that hole doesn't get used much, just because it costs to move it all the time.
And I totally agree with you, Darryl, because I got people out my way who've been making.
Well, you can go from the ditch road north and it's,
You know, talk to Dawn and they'll get there, but then they gotta low bed it to where it's gotta go next, to where it's gotta go out there, it's only half mile, it has to be brush cut,
I know wheels are good, but then if you get in any soft spots, then we're stuck with.
Yeah, but we don't have to go off.
we're never in, we're hardly off the road, that's.
Like 90% of the work we do with it, is on the road,
Yeah.
Or we go the other way, we get a smaller track machine, then we can pull it around with a tandem.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Pintle hitch trailer and tandem,
Yeah.
like what Barkman does,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, 6
Like,
years.
I think the whole would work, it's gotta be more mobile.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, I brushed that with it all winter, 2017, 2018,
No, I
I
know.
got a lot of brush
Oh,
with
you
it,
did, yeah.
you know?
No,
But somebody has to be in it,
all the
and
time.
it has to be more mobile.
yeah.
Well, I guess that's my point, is we can't keep saying we're gonna get to it, because we don't seem to
We
get to
don't
it.
seem to be getting to it, yeah.
And in the wintertime, it's good to do it if there's not too much snow, because it seems to, you know, with the operator
Yeah.
in there.
And some places out in our area, there's boulders in the bottom of those ditches that are gonna take that head up.
Yeah,
That's the only way winter, but
yeah,
Yeah, you gotta watch for those.
no.
And then like the hydrovacs, yes, it would cut like crazy, but we also have places where it won't. Put it in the ditch, you're gonna get stuck. I think the biggest concern I have is that if we buy a hydrovac, it's only good for one thing. That's it. you know?
and if we could ever find a way to, like you said, spray and slow down that growth, then once we got caught up, just to get caught up, I mean,
Like how big are the trees out your way there? How big are they? Most of them?
which part? Most of those are still 3-4 inches,
Okay, well, that's not.
and they're all willows, but they're all, like, I can take you down 2 roads, in 5 miles, there isn't a break in those willows, and they're 8 feet high, and they're on both sides of the road,
Yeah,
and they're causing washouts, they're causing snow buildup, and it's not good. It's,
no.
Are these on farm access roads that you're talking?
these are on our main ditches and all our municipal roads.
On main roads?
Yeah, like all of my roads in my area are all grown up.
It's been a lot of years since the brush cutter spent any amount of time up there.
What did he, he was supposed to go up there this winter.
Well, he did 10 miles, and he said 100 hours for 10 miles. That takes Donnie 100 hours, and then what's Donnie gonna do? I mean, I've got 7 guys that need culverts and approaches done too. I've got culverts that haven't been done in 4 years either.
Oh, I know. Sometimes we just gotta hire some of the.
Well, that's what I mean, we don't have the manpower
No,
to
I agree.
do it. That's,
It's not such a bad thing hiring out. It's,
well, and that's why I'm asking now, so that it's something that can be either put in there or we figure it out, because I'm getting phone calls every day. I mean, Pioneer Elevator there's some elderly women that live there that can't even see out of their laneway until they're on the road because of the trees. And they've asked 3 years in a row to have them done, and they keep getting told yes, and then nothing ever happens.
We need someone to organize that sort of thing. It's very poor organization right now.
Plus, it's hard for Donnie to keep up with everything, and if he's the guy that's the spare guy that's operating, how does he run everything, set everything up, and work all at the same time? I don't have a solution, I'm just asking the question, I guess. Because there are guys around that will scrub.
some of your.
Well, I'm not sure what's it, Nathan Collect has got a
Yeah, it's still.
head on his, I think.
Big, track motor with scrub head on.
Yeah,
Or a skid steer.
he had a skid steer on, I think, he had one of his, and somebody else.
Wheeler
There's
had
about
one.
3 guys that do it. I don't know if Wheeler still does it or not.
Does Darryl Sargent still do it?
He's been doing a lot for CN and that, but he has 2 of them, I believe, so. He was scrubbing all for CN last year, so.
Axes? Hydro axes?
I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. He's in Saskatchewan. I haven't seen his machines. I just know that CN's been hiring him. Hydro's hired him a little bit to do anything for them that they needed done. He did a lot in Saskatchewan, so.
I think it's hose,
I think it is too, but.
It's like ours.
One mini hole.
The same guy that did the hydro lines around the valley here last fall?
I
No,
don't know who that was.
I don't know who did that.
They had a fleet of hydro axles.
Yeah, they had about 4 different machines.
Yeah, they look like skidders that
Yeah, they're basically a backwards skidder.
Yeah.
At any rate, that's part of the reason we've increased. the
Yeah, no, that's- I'm just-
Into the machinery reserve.
Yeah.
Or, like I said, another full-time operator for the summer or something, like. Was Stan coming back?
Pardon?
Is Stan coming back? Or is he back? Or?
Not yet, no. Okay, any other questions on the budget?
Mr. Reeve, I have one that with the recycling, some of the comments that were made by Mr. Gade I'm not sure it was the radio station or where it was, but anyway, about keeping everything in secret. Well, I think tonight, before we proceed, council should make a decision, and it is a line item in the budget on the recycling program for Benito.
What were the results of the survey?
Well, that is the results of the survey, but the recycling program is going to become part of the 2020 financial plan with Benito being involved as the LUD. So it's going to either be a cost that has to be included in the financial plan or not included if council decides that they want to shelve it for the balance of the year, revisit in the fall and get the ducks lined up and get it ready to roll for 2021 if indeed it goes through. And I'm speaking now specifically in regards to a special service fee. There seems to be a lot of confusion over that one-page information sheet that we sent out, which I might add Mr. Gade had some suggestions for it as well. I didn't see his name in his editorial, if you will, as to how this happened, but everybody on the council chambers had a go at it, and suggestions were made, and it went out the way it went out. So council still has a decision to make, and that's, are we going to do a recycling program in Benito for 2020, or are we going to narrow it down, maybe put up a couple of bins at the landfill site for those that want to use them, or just cancel completely until council can sit down and get that special service fee developed for 2021. But a decision has to be made prior to the financial plan proceeding.
Mr. Gade, do you have any comment?
Well, I suppose I was looking at my email here, and I disagree somewhat with Mr. Jenkins' appraisal of how council sat around the table and went over the one-page letter. The emails I have, never once did that letter come to me for review. But moving forward from that, I think we do need to make a decision on the recycling. Was there any big change to the results from the LUD, or did the numbers stay about the same? Or I guess the question is, did we get a bunch of positives come in so that we can say the survey was a positive?
No, it continued on about the same percentage for the last couple of days, like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So there was.
But you did get more responses.
We did get continuous responses. So I don't have the tally. I wasn't, I was taking calls, but I don't have the final tally. I'm not sure if Ken.
I'll hold you that. Just if the trend was similar, I guess that answers the question, right?
Yes, yeah. And I think that goes back to Ken's comments about the confusion on the letter. We had to do a lot of explaining on that, but I think that people would like us to take a look at it and review what it actually costs and how it's going to be applied.
Well, I think the costs were right there for everyone to see.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what we tried to explain to them. So I think it's just how that $12, or it was $12 in the letter, and how that was going to be applied or paid for. So that was the confusion.
So of the committee, the LGD committee committed to 2020 being done generally in the LUD?
No.
That should be part of their mandate, no?
Yeah.
Suggesting how they want to be paying for it?
If at all, yeah.
I guess the question would then become, like, obviously they need to decide for them, but there's also some cost for the rural or the at large. If we want to go ahead with anything, or if we want to just throw up our hands and say we're done with recycling for the time being.
I think the Reeve suggested that it was a lot harder to get back into recycling if we take it away now. So I think he also suggested some bins maybe at the landfill sites. Maybe that might be a way to get by for now.
That's how the rural has done it for years, Tyler.
As opposed to just removing it completely, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to see it stay there as well.
Stay like that at least, and that way people have the option.
Well, you would need a couple of bins set up in the LUD though, so that the LUD residents would have a place to put their recycling.
Better than nothing.
No, exactly.
Well, I do think that if we just stop recycling, we're not gonna start recycling again. You know?
Well, I think a certain percentage would, but
Yeah, you're right.
it's sending a very confusing message,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, and the other thing is like Ken said too, is that come September, the province might mandate that you cannot have that going to the landfill, and that there has to be some kind of program. I mean, the province isn't gonna be happy if they find out we're just dumping everything in the landfill, so.
At least we're making an attempt
Yeah.
at bins.
Putting bins in the LUD, I don't know if that's an answer, I think it'd be full of garbage, but.
No, I don't.
I think there have been
No.
provisions made in the budget for recycling, right? They've been left in?
Yes, they have.
Okay. So between now and our next regular meeting, will you be meeting with the LUD committee?
Yes.
So you can have a conversation with them. And at the public hearings, as I said, we can always decrease the amount in the budget. We cannot increase the amount in the budget. And by that time, hopefully the dust will settle and the LUD committee will maybe have spoken to some of the individuals in the LUD that want recycling. And we can come to a successful conclusion on it. Because right now, for us to say that we're going to do it would be presumptive, to say the least. That sound like a fair enough
Yeah.
position?
Yep.
But I think some onus has to be put on the LUD because it is on the LUD committee, that is, because they represent those individuals as well. Any other questions with regard to any other expense? One last time, anything else on anyone's mind? If not, then the revenue from tax levy will increase $96,206. Good percent that worked out? About
3.
3?
3%.
Approximately 3%. It's unfortunate that last year hours went down. When I say hours now, I'm talking the municipality mill rate decreased slightly, and this year we're having to put it back up. Part of that, though, as I said, is as a result of additional gravel and the increased contribution to the machinery levy, or machinery reserve, pardon me. Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, then I guess we're done here. So we will look to ensure that we have some direction for the May 12th meeting, our regular meeting from the LUD, so that we can then set dates for the public hearing.
Are you interested in
Have that for you tomorrow morning.
Are you interested in utilities at all?
Do you want to spend some time on utilities?
It's basically,
Yeah.
How is the rate study going there, Ken? Have you heard?
It's just commenced. He's talked to him about a week ago, but I can't remember exactly when it was I said that about the council, but as of that, I think it was a day later or 2 days later, he's been given the go-ahead, so it'll be just very preliminary if he started at all, but he's got the approval to go, so he'll be starting very soon for sure.
Okay, thank you.
There'll be a formal letter going out to him actually tomorrow, as a matter of fact, but he's already been advised to start the process.
Okay. Do you know what sort of length of time normally takes?
At this point in time, I can't comment on that, Mr. Reeve. We just don't know.
Okay.
Getting the information put together and getting the bylaw done up will be the quickest things, probably within a couple of months. But the last time I had dealings with the Public Utilities Board, the town of Manitoba was in a queue for a 2-year period. So the best thing that the board will do for us is give us interim operating rates so we don't incur a deficit. And that can happen in not a matter of months. We're probably, give or take, 6 months to a year out, conservatively speaking.
Okay.
The main thing is that the thing started. That was our big ticket item. And the engineering assessment that we're hopefully getting cost-sharing with the province. But anyway, they have assigned a Manitoba Water Services Board engineer, and he'll be coming up here to meet with the water treatment plant, and he'll be putting his report together, and that'll be forthcoming to council as well. That'll be quite a bit quicker time frame than the utility rate study.
Anyone have any questions of Ken? Any questions on the utilities budget?
It's pretty straightforward. We're going to be doing some work on the well, and our meter reading upgrade, Neptune, as well as, like I say, a valve within the water treatment center. So that's the biggest increases that there will be for 2020. Everything else stays pretty status quo for utilities.
Transferred 62,000 general reserve, right, to
That's out of the utilities reserve.
utilities
Yeah.
reserve, yeah.
No other questions on that then? That's for your information. Okay, moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Wills, resolved that this meeting shall now adjourn. 7:47 PM. Next regular meeting is scheduled for May 4th, 2020 at 7 PM. All in favor?
Me what?
The next meeting is scheduled for when?
We got written May 4th. May 12th.
12th.
Okay.
Today is the
Me
4th.
what?
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Councillor Gade, are you still there?
I am. I voted yes.
Oh, you have? Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you. That is carried. Thank you all for your attendance.